Guys, look, every day I'm left in awe of the wrong mentality we have at Manchester United. Guess what? Rasmus Hojlund has been taking a lot of flack from United supporters on social media, especially Instagram, for his unsmart celebration after we drew against FC Porto in the Europa League. Guys, which kind of players do we have at Man United? I'm going to talk about that problem in a bit, but I'll also talk about Eric Ten Hag and what exactly is going through his mind right now that already people are beginning to really run out of patience with him because statements are continuing to come through with people who have worked with him closely. I'm talking his assistants or people who have worked at Man United in different capacities. My name is Webb. Welcome to the United of Sport. And we continue, guys, to look at Man United and try to understand the problems we have and what exactly is happening now. You recall that we threw away 2-0 lead to draw against FC Porto in the Europa League, and obviously there is no person, there is no single Saint Man United supporter who celebrated after that game. Now later on, you can see if fans cannot celebrate a draw, players have no right absolutely to even think about celebrating, even if it had been Hoyland scoring a hat trick. But guess what? After that game, this young Dan goes out on his Instagram and is, posting something unfunny about how he had 6 weeks to practice his celebration for the goal he scored. And in the comments, people were almost taking him for dinner. The comments were as bad as you would expect them to be. But for me, this continues to show me the drop in mentality at Man United. Listen, Eric Ten Hag, when he joined, he kept saying that one of the first things he was required to do at Man United was to change the mentality of these players. But I feel like we are not progressing in any way in terms of that direction. I think only a few players, like probably uh, uh, Harry Maguire, who are showing quite the mentality, or Johnny Evans, who are showing quite the mentality of a Man United player. But look, there is absolutely no way during the times of Sir Alex Ferguson, and those are the standards Man United is at, where you draw you lose a 2-0 lead against any team and draw against them, regardless where the venue is, and any player would think about celebrating or posting a celebration. It's insane. I heard Rio Ferdinand the other day talking about how United lost, I think, 4 or 5-0 to Liverpool or something. And after the game, Jesse Lingard and Paul Pogba were posting videos on Instagram of themselves dancing. Now, and you relate to what we are used to, where Man United would draw against Stoke City and players would enter the dressing room and they don't want to look at each other. I'm only seeing that mentality at Man City and Arsenal. It shows you that Manchester United has got all the wrong characters in the club. And someone can say times have changed, that kids today are different and these players are young. But look, I think Arsenal has a younger squad probably, or even close to Man United. I mean, what I'm saying is that even Arsenal and Man City players are in the same age brackets as Man United players. They're in the same generation. They're all Gen Z kids. You don't tell us that it's a thing of change of times, and we cannot stick to the past of Sir Alex Ferguson. The mentality of a club like Man United should stay that. The culture in terms of mentality should stay the same for generations and generations to come. For me, that was absolutely unacceptable, and Rasmus Hojlund should be eaten by even his own teammates before even it gets to the manager. His own teammates should be eating him up for posting such a thing after a loss. Jesse Lingard and Paul Pogba should have been eaten up by their colleagues when they posted such stuff. But we have seen this poor mentality go on for so long at Man United. And it clearly exposes us and how much we are lagging way behind if we try to compare to the best teams. Look at Liverpool, look at Arsenal, look at Man City, look at Real Madrid. You don't lose a game of football and you're bantering around social media. It doesn't. You cannot even think about your phone. It doesn't happen. So I look at this and I'm thinking, and I heard Benny McCarthy rather say that Eric Ten Hag, he can't even imagine how Eric Ten Hag feels and what he goes through, because this guy probably doesn't sleep because he works so hard, he has sleepless nights, as early as 3 and 4 a.m., he's sending a message, talking to one of his coaches or the analysts. He's always thinking about the team. And you're thinking, this poor guy, I mean, with all his issues, he's trying to push so hard, but the kids, he's trying to motivate and not responding, but they're just all over social media posting absolute nonsense. For me, that poor mentality cannot, it shows you the rot in the club. And as Phil Jones complained about it, we've seen Rio Ferdinand, of course, complain about it. Of course, for Jones, he was there, he has been there with them. It's terrible, and this is the hard work we need to do to try and get this team out. Now, if we talk about setting standards, it doesn't mean bringing in so many CEOs, sporting directors, and assistants, and what have you. Setting standards are making it known to these players that you can't afford to lose a game of football at Man United and go around social media bantering and making unfunny jokes about yourself and anything. It doesn't work like that at Man United. It's really a sad bit. It shows you how deep we are and how far off we've fallen when it comes to the biggest teams in the world of football. But again, where is the solution? At this point, we've complained enough about all the issues we have, but what is the solution? For me, the solution should be having a ruthless manager, a ruthless team that is going to come in there and not pamper these players, but show them the level a Man United player is expected to operate at, behave at, act at, because these players certainly think that Man United is just like any other club. Yet it's not at all. It's not at all the case. But you see, if we get used to this mediocrity, we are going to end up lowering our club to that level. And trust you me, we will completely lose the fear factor, which I know we've already lost, but it will even be worse. That's why clubs will come at Old Trafford and bully us. I remember I was listening to the story of Phil Jones, who was saying that there is a game where he went and he felt he played well, but he made a mistake in the last minutes of the game. United was leading against Stoke City away, but he made a mistake and failed to mark Peter Crouch, and he equalized for Stoke City, and the game ended 1-0. And he felt like, it's a draw, a 1-hour draw. I had a good game, well, whereas we drew 1-0, it's okay. He went in the dressing room, and everyone couldn't talk. Like it was the coldest place he had been at, and he's thinking, why are these guys like this? Now, that's the time when the Rio Ferdinands, the Giggses, the Gary Nevilles, all these, the Paul Scholes were still there. And Phil Jones was the young kid in the squad trying to, come in and get his place in the team. Rio Ferdinand, he whispered to Rio Ferdinand and telling him, what's going on? What's the problem? Why are people like this? It's a draw. It's an away draw. We didn't lose. We had a decent game. Rio Ferdinand told him it's not good enough for Man United. That's when he knew the magnitude of the club he's playing for. These kids don't have anyone to tell them such stories. I'm sure even Johnny Evans gets lost in them. There are so many, all is just playing around, and that's the character of all kids today, that they need a ruthless person to come and wake them up. And that's why Mikel Arteta is performing at Arsenal. That's why Jurgen Klopp performed at Liverpool. That is why Pep Guardiola is performing at Man City. You need to be ruthless, but the structure has got to support that by putting in place that culture so that when the manager comes and tries to implement it, he will not look alien to the players. Guys, this is Man United. These are the things we need to work on. Who is going to be the solution? We are still waiting to see what Ineos does. My name is Webb. Like, share, and subscribe as we do continue with the international break. Cheers.